It gets hard.
There it is. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of DAC Chats. We are back here on Wednesday night, the night of the episode. I know you guys were probably wondering, are we going to be Wednesday, going to be Thursday? Who knows? It really just depends on what our mood is. But we're here on Wednesday, and we are excited to have you guys back. We got a great episode to cover. I'm really excited to start talking about it, and I can't get chat popping up for some reason. So we'll see if that comes up here in a second. But do you have chat on your side? Can you see it?
Let me take a look. Yeah, no, I can see it just fine.
All right. I'll see if I can figure it out over here in a minute. In the meantime, I'll just let you kind of let me know when stuff's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, we got a great episode. We really kind of came out the gate swinging tonight. We had, for the first time this season, I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first time this season we had a dedicated immunity challenge, at least for the merge.
So, yes, for merge, yes. We have had two challenges so far in an episode where they've done one reward, one for immunity. I was really a fan of that, but I like the concept of it not necessarily always being so traditional where there's one reward, one immunity. I kind of like the switch up now that I'm understanding it a little bit more and what they're trying to do and trying to make it less predictable and more just random chance.
Yep. I was pretty happy with what we got for the immunity tonight. I was, we had a really great moment there for the win, and I like the way they did that. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Cover a little more of that because we had a little bit to talk about before the actual episode started. And right out the gate, we hear from Carla because she says she was supposed to be out of the loop last week, and she wasn't because someone kind of slipped her a little note right before saying, "Hey, be prepared." And that was Sammy. Sammy told her, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is who to vote for," and so she was prepared, and that's why the vote ended up going that way.
And I really like that they're starting to actually play on this now, because I've been saying for the last several weeks, hey, that's going to look really shady to a jury, him constantly going back and forth. I like that they're finally playing on it because now we're starting to get to the jury time where, hey, these little moves that you're making, they're great to get you to the end of the game. They may not be great to let you win the game. And so I personally, I like that they actually showed that people are starting to sour on Sammy.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not the first time we're going to hear about it tonight. But, well, like I said, we'll cover more of that. Cassidy, we hear from her, and she's really happy coming back from Tribal because she was finally able to get Ryan out. That's what she's been trying to do. We know that. And she even says something along the lines of, it's even more satisfying because he was, once again, trying to come after me tonight. So it was even more satisfying being able to get him on that swing. As I had said all season, Ryan overplaying himself. And
a little bit. And what was really nice is when they all came back, you see Carla say, Cassidy, like, letting everybody know, like, hey, is my girl still here? Is my alliance member still here? Because she already lost James, and so if she would have lost Cassidy, I would think that Carla would just be in a horrible spot. But luckily for her, she got to continue on, and Cassidy got to stay in.
Yep, Cassidy did. Now Jesse is also pretty happy with where the votes fell as well. He said that he basically is him, Gabler, and Cody are all kind of in the middle, and they don't have to worry too much. They're kind of surrounded by everyone that everyone likes him. Everyone's okay with him right now. And we didn't hear anything contradicting at the time at all. So he kind of he's for the most part right where he would want to be. He also says that he knows that there's at least one idol in Carla's bag. Everyone pretty much knows it at this point.
That was really cool.
Yes.
Because I've been wondering for a while, like, oh, this hidden immunity idol, no one knows about it. Carla's the only one that knows about it. And I was like, everybody kind of has to know because like you have to get the beads from everybody.
Hmm.
And so,
Yeah,
like, if you just have a quick conversation with people from her tribe, like, hey, like, who got the beads from your camp? Who was asking for the specific beads? It was something that, like, was on the back of my mind, but genuinely never formulated kind of a thing.
yeah,
And like, I'm really glad that they touched on that because now, like, if James would have known, it really does a lot for Last Tribal Council because if James would have known, he would have used his knowledge as power advantage to
yeah.
grab Carla's idol and we would have known nothing about like, hey, how did he know that that was the case?
Yeah, and forgive me because I'm completely blanking, but the Beats idol was the knowledge or the beware advantage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's everyone's kind of aware. Hey, okay, someone probably stumbled upon this. Where are the
Yeah.
beads? And once you just hear one person kind of mention something about a bead, because like we know, there's all kinds of conversations going we just don't hear
Right.
from the edit, and so all it takes is one little seed, and he's like, everyone pretty much knows.
Yeah.
Everyone knows she's got it. But that's not all she has. So all right, so we get to straight into a challenge, and it turns out, like we said earlier, it is a reward challenge. We start hearing about, they're going to the sanctuary, they get all kinds of food, yada yada. One thing that always interests me is, for me personally, I feel like if I'm a survivor, when I'm being starved that much, me personally, this is just me, I would not want any alcohol because I feel like that's just going to
Ooh.
mess me up personally. I feel like it's going to make me way more sick when I've been that hungry. I mean, you're getting stuff, but still, when you're out in the heat, I don't know. The last thing for me I would
It's
want
giving
is drinking
it's
anything.
giving you calories and so
It
like
is,
genuinely like if I can get calories inside like I'm sure they have soda and stuff like that for those people.
yeah,
But like genuinely I don't see anything against it, especially because that night they got to sleep in their own personalized bed and things of
yeah,
that nature. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm sure they had AC and things like that. Like,
yeah.
probably indulge a little bit on that one.
Yep, and that's what I was gonna say. The biggest thing that came out of that for me was I'm like, okay, yeah, we hear about all the food and stuff, but then we hear, oh, you get to sleep there. So it's not just a food advantage; it's an overnight advantage, and that's at. I mean, like you need the fuel. Obviously, the most important thing is the fuel. But from a mental standpoint, I feel like that comfort, getting a full night's rest,
Yeah.
is almost a better advantage than the food because you could get food at any point.
Yeah.
If you're really working for it, there's only so much extra comfort you can give yourself to help you get a really good night's rest. I feel like that's way better of an advantage
Agreed.
overall. But that's just me. But yeah, and it's a double-edged sword too because there's so much that's going on back at camp that while you do want that comfort and that is a huge advantage, you're missing out on some stuff back at camp and you don't know what's going on. I mean, it's one thing to be gone for a couple hours to
Yeah.
eat, but you're gone overnight. You have no idea what could be going on, and
I have some
maybe it has
I,
an impact later on.
I
Maybe it
have
doesn't.
some
We'll see.
thoughts. I have some thoughts
Yeah,
on that when we get there, but we get into this challenge, and I really like the setup for this challenge. I always like the three-part challenges, and you know
yeah,
that from playing my Survivor Day.
yeah.
Like the three-part challenge is kind of my go-to if it's a big team game.
Yeah.
And so the start of this game was spinning on a weird contraption, but it was a fantastic contraption.
Oh yeah.
You basically just had to do a little tilt-a-whirl, tilt-a-whirl, whatever.
Hurt the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. So you're spinning around and you're trying to pull in this buoy as you're spinning. You get
Hmm.
onto a net bridge area where you just have to kind of walk through it. So you're already dizzy. Get onto this net bridge where you're going to trip and fall all over the place. And then the next part of the challenge was a balance beam where you had to go get the sandbag, untie it.
Hmm.
You're already dizzy, so like that
Yep.
part's going to be even worse. And then you got to throw the sandbag onto it looked like about a 15-foot platform. And I mean, it couldn't have been any bigger than, I mean, a small
Oh
disc.
no.
It looked really difficult. That would be a challenge that in one of my Survivor days I would copy that straight off of the
Yeah.
bat. That looked really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The whole thing and this season I haven't really gone into very many challenges thinking, oh, Noel's going to have a disadvantage here. I did initially just with the spinning because I'm like, depending on how they're allowing them to spin, it might be
Yeah.
easier to kind of
And,
grip and
and we
twirl.
did see a lot of different ways of spinning, which was really cool. I'll
Yes.
touch on that after you're done talking.
Well, I was going to say that, and then also too, I see the net, and I'm like, I wonder if there's any like physical mechanics on her leg that
Hmm.
could easily get caught by like a loose string or something on
Yeah.
one of those ropes. And
Yep.
I
I
instantly
thought the
thought of
same
that.
thing.
I'm like, that would really be unfortunate if you got stuck. Like, I wouldn't mind if someone came and unhooked her from something that literally you can't undo. That
Yeah.
me personally, but I was like, man, that'd be a real disadvantage. Didn't even think about the beam
Yeah.
that we see as I feel like that beam was just as much a main character tonight than the rest of the cast
Yeah.
because we really saw an obstacle. Was there something else you were wanting to touch on before we covered that?
I did want to talk about the spinning contraption because
Okay, all right, go ahead.
it looks like Mona's just saying hi. Hi,
Oh,
Mona.
hey Mona, thanks for stopping in.
The spinning contraption, we saw like four different people doing different things. My favorite was Jesse. So Jesse would do one spin, and as he was going to twist, he would kick his legs up and just do one spin, stop, kick his legs up, do one spin, stop, or as many as he could possibly get through. So that way he was getting the momentum, as opposed to like Carla, who was like doing a body movement, trying to do this kind of stuff. It was a really like, and we saw who like
Have
were
you
in
ever
the
seen
lead.
something that it's like that? I can relate to that, but I'm not sure how. That's one of that spin contraption is like I can relate to being on something like that, but I can't quite figure out how.
I no idea. I feel like the playground. Like the playground's
Yeah,
the
yeah, no,
only
that's
place
exactly
that
yes,
like
exactly what I was thinking. Because
yeah.
I'm like, you're saying that, and I can instantly picture how that would work. Because I'm like, you start spinning on one of those things, and you're like,
Yep.
no, you start feeling the momentum, feeling the gravity, how
Yep.
it's rotating. So, and it's just one of those that you just have to get in and start messing with to see how it works. But yeah, 100%, he was rocking that.
No,
Uh,
it was
you
a
know,
it was a fantastic challenge. We get to the net part. Everybody's kind of dizzy. The part that really cracked me up, and like no diss on Cody, but Cody was the first one out the gate, and he had a drunk walk, like he'd been there
yeah,
before. He
yeah.
was like, I'm doing this, I'm good. Like it was the funniest thing to watch live, because I was just like, oh my god, that guy's been hammered before. And that guy knows how to do a drunk walk and be completely fine with it. Just all right.
Oh yeah,
It
oh
was
yeah, and
really, really, really
Je-
good.
Jesse was too, like you were talking about. He came off that and he was all over the place. He cannot
Yeah.
stand up straight, and I got a big kick out of that. But yeah, so we see them. I mean, the net's kind of we've seen it before, and like we said, the balance beam. So we get to the balance beam, and like I said, I never even really thought much of it. We've seen a million different balance beams before. Almost
Yep.
every season, we see one, two, sometimes even three different iterations of some type of balance beam that has to go across. I don't have much balance from that type of thing, and so when I first see that, that's what I'm thinking of. We see pretty much everyone get through it, and Noelle is stuck, and she keeps falling off.
Yep.
And I did think it was interesting. They let them like once they go through, as long as they grab it, even if they fall off, they can go back still holding it.
Yes.
Um, Usually there's some type of like reset altogether, but they let them grab it, run through. Most people, kind of get through there pretty easily, and everyone's stuck on tossing it. Now, I am by no means athletic in any way, shape, or form.
I want to get that. I want to get that video up right now.
Yeah,
Oh my
by no means
god.
am I athletic. There are some challenges in Survivor where I'm like, I could manage through that. But anything with aim,
Throwing a
not at all.
sandbag. I need to get this out to on the channel. There's a video where Dakota, we did a competition, and Dakota stepped up in his tribe. He's like, I'm gonna be the hero of this game. I'm gonna throw this sandbag into a ring, and it was a little hula hoop, budget Survivor. And I got a video of Dakota spinning this sucker around and throwing it, and the people on his tribe just look at him and go, "The heck is going on?"
Yeah, I have zero aim whatsoever. I can't throw
Oh.
I
He made
I've
it
always
up
said.
later. I do want to preface that he made it up later. He ended up getting them all in, and I think his team. I don't know how your team did, to tell you the truth, but I know it
I
was a
don't
close
remember either.
game. So
Yeah, it's
he was voted out the very next tribal council though because
yes.
of that move. So it was
Yeah,
anyway.
that
Sorry.
that started my downfall. But anyway, I have zero aim. I can't throw a ball to save my life. I can't aim for nothing. So for me, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna land this. But we go back and we see Noelle is falling off this beam. She cannot make it, and this is the first. It's not the first hurdle that she's had to overcome for a challenge, but it's the first one that really stumped her. And she is, you can tell she's clearly emotional. She's crying through the whole thing. And she's sitting there. She's like, I cannot figure out how I'm going to get through this. And I'm sitting there thinking, I cannot figure out how she's going to get through this. And
Well, we actually did see her in a previous challenge that she struggled with this, but it was she got through that one a lot faster, and it was because
yeah,
they were able to jump and she was able to do
yeah,
stuff more along that line. And we saw earlier in this challenge, Sammy actually had to redo the entire balance beam because he was trying to jump to the finish.
mm-hmm.
And that was something that I think was kind of in the back of her brain because you notice as she's like going through, she's being very careful not to just jump and do
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah, and and I wonder how much texture she has at the bottom of the hook or whatever you want to call that, because the top part looks pretty smooth, but I would imagine that the bottom of that has some type of ridge or texture or something
A
that helps it
grip of some
grip,
kind, yeah.
kind of like the bottom of a foot would. So, but it doesn't appear that it does during this because she just cannot land it, and we see everyone trying to throw those sandbags up there and having no better luck than me at that. I mean, I would have been doing the worst. Everyone just would have been. I literally I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember that time we went bowling and I threw the bowling ball to the other lane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I literally threw a bowling ball into the lane next to me and knocked over some pins. That is how bad of aim I have.
Rough,
And I
rough.
probably would have hit Jeff a couple times with the sandbag, to be quite frank, or someone else. But no one is landing this. And Jeff's over here telling her, you're not out of this. You can still make it in. And she's struggling. She's struggling. The episode edited it far longer than we can stretch it out talking about it. But
Yeah,
overall,
it really did.
yeah, but we see lots of different maneuvers that she's trying to use to get on there, and she is just struggling. But finally, we're able to see her. She's able to get on at least long enough to where she's at the point where she can bend over and hold on to untie the beanbag or the sandbag, and then she falls right off, and she's like, can I hold it? Can I walk? He's like, yep, go start over, grab it, go. And she's able to make it across. And in the 10 minutes that we watched people trying to throw this up there, no one got it. I believe it was her first shot, second shot, that she lands it.
Yeah.
Immediately lands it out of nowhere. And I mean, it was impressive. It was truly impressive. Just the sheer ability of walking up and landing it right away is impressive enough when everyone else is. I mean, Noelle is athletic. She's not like the most athletic, but she is very athletic. But even still, being able to just come up and land it right away, as opposed to everyone else who's been sitting there for like 10 minutes trying to and couldn't do it. Not to mention the obstacle and the hurdle she overcame. It was really impressive. And this is not the first time in the show where we've seen someone overcome a very huge personal obstacle. And it was really impressive to see, her be able to accomplish that. But
Seems they're happening every week now. If you notice, there's somebody overcoming something of some kind.
Oh yeah. Well, it's Jeff's favorite thing about the show, watching people just overcome hurdles in life and relate how it's comparable to real life. But anyway, so we see that she wins, and as expected, she gets to pick someone to join her. And her first person she picks is Sammy. And then Jeff says the whole, okay, pick one more person. So she picks Jesse. Okay, all right, now pick one last person. and she picks Owen because Owen's been talking. No, Jesse was talking about family the whole time, and then Owen has not eaten anything yet at all, I guess, this season. So she picks him to join her. And Crazy says, "Hey, they're just stopping in to like because I haven't caught the episode yet." All right, yeah. We'd love to have you here, but you don't want to miss the episode. It was a really good episode,
Really good.
and you're gonna want to catch it and then come back because it was a really good episode. But anyway, so and I don't remember if it was at this point or when he was announcing the challenge. I think it was at this point. Jeff also mentions that not only do you get to go have a feast and you get to sleep in comfort overnight, but you also get to open letters from home.
Yeah.
And normally when we see the family visit, I can't remember if it's 8 or 6. I want to say 6. I think it's usually 6.
Yeah, somewhere around in there.
They've
Done it where like a lot of people get to participate, and done it where only like 5. So like, I've seen a final 3. I believe it was a final 3 that got family. Like it was like at this point, what?
Yeah, but the standard is 6. So, but we usually see like the letters from home a little bit sooner. So I'm wondering if we're even going to get the family visit.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, just because of how like they waited to do the letters. I feel like they usually do the letters a little bit sooner, and then have a little bit more gap, and then do the visitors. Also, too, because we didn't get it the last 2 seasons either. I don't believe.
We also had COVID seasons, so
that's true. That's true.
This is the first
but I
one.
think part of it, I think part of it is because it's the shortened season. It's hard for them to schedule everything. So that's one downfall. And me personally, as much as I say I don't like the sappiness of it, I love watching the level 1 visit.
No. I would prefer not having any of the overcoming stuff and just give me one good.
Oh, yeah.
I've cried over some of these loved one visits.
Oh, yeah.
They are so touching, and you always put yourself in that moment like, oh man, who would I have come and see me? Would I do a Johnny Fairplay where I have my friend come and tell me my grandma's died, or have my wife, or have a parent, or oh, I don't need to be thinking emotional. For me it'd be my dad, because I don't need someone that's emotional.
Yeah.
I need somebody that's going to tell me to get myself up.
And your dad's going to come out there. He's going to say, pick your butt up off the ground
and get to work. Yeah.
And your dad would be the one that it would be like Brandon Hance's dad going around and
my dad is so chill. My dad is the chillest person. He would, if anything, I always said that I was going to bring my dad, and it's because my mom is not great at challenges. She's good, but put her in an actual Survivor challenge, she's going to get, I don't know. Just my mom is my mom. She's a wonderful person. Hi, Mom. But she would get overwhelmed. Yeah, she would get overwhelmed. Same as my wife. My wife would get overwhelmed. And so I need somebody that if they are put in a challenge, my dad's going to kick butt. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be that person that's like, hey, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get your mind focused. You don't need to be emotional, and that's, it's my dad. Fantastic. Yep. That's the person that
and then everyone would be shocked to find out. Not to say that by any means that your dad's older, but based on his age, just how able he is at his age is truly impressive. So that'd be, and I've always said before, there's something about your dad always reminds me of Jeff. There's
I would dress him up in the whole Jeff wear just to come out there like, please. Yeah.
He's gonna come out there in a black shirt, khaki shorts. Yep. And it's gonna piss Jeff off.
Yep.
So, but anyway, so I don't know if we're gonna get the loved ones visit, but I do always appreciate it for all those reasons, because not only do we get to see kind of that relatable moment, but also it has a real impact on the rest of the game every single season. So I would rather have that, but I don't know. We'll see. But at this point, the 4 that got to go to the reward do get letters. I can't remember the exact wording Owen said, but he said it's like a little mini breather session, because everyone here is all kind of in the same boat. We want those letters. The game's it's not pausing, but we get to step back for a second and breathe and kind of be in the moment, because everyone wants that. No one is not wanting to have that moment for themselves. So it's all kind of resets everyone and lets everyone be on the even playing field. And
Yep.
we get a lot of touching moments. I like Jesse. He had a little handwritten note from his kid. That was cute. So some good moments there. His wife also says, make sure to bring that money home, and maybe a
Get
little
that money.
foreshadowing. Yeah, get that money because it might be a little foreshadowing. We'll see later on, what how it comes to fruition. But I was pretty impressed with that. But so we get back to the before we jump ahead, I'm missing a couple things.
Okay.
Or was there anything of the letters that you wanted to cover either?
No, genuinely, I don't have any notes from here until the next
Yeah,
challenge.
gotcha.
There was some good stuff. The only thing you know what, I do have one note that basically Sammy was trying to set up a final four
Yep.
between
Yeah.
Jesse, Noel, and Owen, kind of more solidifying that he's kind of that guy that's like, hey, me and you, making deals with
Yes.
everybody, showing that side of him that like in he's just overzealous. And
Yep.
that's the I mean, he's playing the game and he's playing really hard, but that's the problem. He's now over pursued
Yes.
and now he's getting that tag of like, oh well, he's playing a little too hard. He's not going to win.
Yeah. No, and it's kind of what I've been saying since the beginning. He I don't think Jesse. I would not call him a bad player. I have
Sammy.
seen much worse. Sammy? Yes, sorry, Sammy. I would not call him a bad player by any means. I have seen much worse. He just needs to slow down, and I'm afraid he's already kind of beyond that point where even if he does at this point, now it would almost be a detriment because he's got this target on his back. He really can't slow down. He can try and at least attempt to give off an appearance of slowing down, but now he really has to be in it
Yep.
and making moves. And that's not the position you want to be in, where you can't, kind of adjust your speed. But he does. We do hear him, tell the others that, he's going Cassidy on the next vote. That's where his vote's going. That's who he wants. And Owen mentions, maybe they need to split the votes between Cassidy and Carla in case Carla does have that idol. So we see some talking, not as much as we would normally get from
Yeah.
a reward challenge like this, but we do see some maneuvering. And then we get back to camp, and they're talking about how Owen, I think they were saying Owen appears to be really tight with Noel. And they mention how, Noel, and it gets brought up again, but they say, Noel, it's kind of like her next Dwight, and, really, holding on to that bond. They're fearful. The ones back at camp, they said that they're kind of fearful that the four are going to be bonded over the reward challenge, like does tend to happen. But Cassidy still doesn't really have a lot of trust in Gabler, so she's not necessarily willing to go all in with this four because she doesn't trust him all the way.
Yep.
And then I said Cassidy and Cassidy are afraid, so I don't know what I was trying to type there.
Oh,
But
Carla.
they're Cassidy. I think it's Cassidy and Gabler. Were both kind of mentioning how they were. This is the first moment we actually hear something like this, and we've been talking about this all season. Cassidy and Gabler, they're at the well, and they both mention they're both afraid to sit with Noel at the end, and we've been waiting for
As
someone.
as I've been saying for
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
All it just took her winning a stinking reward challenge for
Yep.
somebody to actually take notice. Because everybody has been so kumbaya this entire season that it just finally said, hey, that person over there with one leg just beat all of us in a challenge. Oh crap, can I beat her in the end?
Yep.
No? Why
And
is she still around?
yeah, and at this point, Noelle has proven herself to be a competitor. She's a social threat. She's continuing to gain allies, even as her current allies are getting voted out.
Yep.
And she is a physical threat. And it's like it's on like you don't want to say, well, look at her because she has her disability and she's still winning, but it's despite her disability, she's still whooping our butts. And like, just imagine how much more able she'd be if that wasn't hindering her. So
And
we're
I am
finally starting to see that a little bit at this point in the episode.
and I will say that, and this is really bad, but genuinely, she would have made it farther if she was not an amputee, because that
I
target
think so.
wouldn't be on her back as much. She has had a target on her back since day one, and that is something that I think she represented that whole community very, very well. She did a very good job in that. Kind of giving away a little bit of spoilers, but
Mhm.
genuinely, she did a very, very good job in that part. But we get to the next
Well, hey,
challenge.
listen, right or wrong, at the moment everyone stepped foot on that island, everyone sees the amputee and they're like, that
Target.
puts it in their head. That's gonna
Yeah.
put it in their head. So whether or not anything else comes of that, we'd see. But no matter who it is, right or wrong, that's gonna be in the back of your head, and that's not going away. And she knew going into that was
Mhm.
going to be something she was going to have to deal with. So, but yeah, her coming out and having to prove herself uh, because of that helped her, but it also might end up being some of a detriment. So I don't
Yeah.
disagree with you there.
Yep.
But we do get to the immunity challenge, and
You've seen this challenge before,
yeah,
haven't you?
yep.
Yeah.
I'll
So
let you take it from here.
this is a challenge I've done on my Survivor days. Dakota has competed in this.
Mhm.
We did a version of it on Redemption Island. We didn't have the balancing factor in the sense that we didn't have anything to hold on to, but it's a very good concept that if I had the engineering that they did, I'd be doing it.
Yep.
But we just
It
did.
was on a bigger scale. It was on a bigger scale.
It
Bigger,
was. We
bigger
had a
items.
Yeah, no, we had a just two by twos, little deals right here, and we just had to stack them up, similar to what they had dominoes. I had more of like actual pieces of wood, and we give them 90 seconds to stack them up as high as you could possibly go. I have a clip of Dakota at the very beginning. He didn't understand the wording of the challenge or something like that, so he moves all of his stack from one side and puts it to the other, and looks at me, and he's like, "I'm done." it's fantastic. But anyway,
Yeah.
so you stack them up like dominoes and whatnot, and go as high as they can, but they have to
Uh-oh.
balance it.
There we go.
This challenge probably went on for 45 minutes, 35 minutes. They didn't give us an exact number,
Yeah.
but it was very cut and dry where you saw everybody dropping out. You saw everybody in it. You saw everybody was doing something except for Gabler. I felt like Gabler just didn't have his footing in this
You know,
challenge.
I at this point in the episode, I was thinking, despite the last scene where he said, "I don't want to sit next to Noel at the end," I was like, we have not heard anything from Gabler. Gabler
Yeah.
is MIA, and spoiler alert, we hear a little bit more from him, but he was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
He contributes a little bit more. We'll cover that, but he was pretty much MIA this episode compared to
Yeah.
what we're used to getting out of him. But I don't disagree. He was not really doing much
Yeah.
in this challenge, and this is one of those that you could. It's literally anyone's game. It literally is.
Yeah.
It's what I like to call a crapshoot challenge, where
Yep.
it doesn't matter your skill, it doesn't matter your ability. Anyone can win this. I mean, a fly could come up and knock your. Literally, a fly could come up and knock your stuff over,
Yeah.
and you're
Tough.
it's too bad for you.
Yeah.
So, but I really liked, and might be jumping ahead. I don't know if there's anything else you're covering, but I really
No.
liked Cassidy's idea once she got later on down.
She copied you.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, the thing is, she really salvaged what she had at the beginning and made it stretch. And then she had a big surplus. I mean, even at the end, we've seen other iterations of this challenge.
Run out of
I'm
them. Yeah.
Yeah, run out of it. I'm thinking of Malcolm before, where he was trying to stack and he just completely ran out of stuff. And so he had to start disassembling and
Yeah.
then rebuilding. And she still had extra left over because she really stretched it far and then started stacking. And then we even get to the point where she's stacking and she thought she had it. And Jeff's like, no, just another inch or so. And then, and she had to stack them even higher. She had to like layer those on thicker than I kind of thought she had to. And then we get to the very end, and she finally puts that final piece on there. And even I'm like wanting to kind of go measure it.
Close.
I
That was
I don't
close.
know personally. Excuse me. Almost every challenge, I'm like, even there, like on Big Brother, they have it a lot too. But here, I'm like, I know that can roll the footage back. But this
Mm.
is one of those where if Jeff and I genuinely I don't know how they would approach this. If she's sitting there and she's like, "Do I have it?" and Jeff is monitoring it, and during the time where he's trying to decide whether or not it's even, if something happens to that,
3 count. It's like wrestling. 1, 2, 3,
yeah,
and
I think so.
from
Well,
the
but
winner.
I think that the point is he was trying to measure it,
Yeah.
and if he's still because it took him a second. Most of the time,
Yeah.
he's pretty snappy, and that was really challenging. I almost feel like it should kind of cover over it, and it's like once you're touching it,
Yeah.
that's the determinator. But anyway, but I was really impressed by how she was going about it, and Cassidy did end up winning this immunity challenge, and it was one that it was not bad that she won because had she not, I'm not, who's to say definitively that she would have gone home? There definitely were other options that we hear about later on, but she really could have been in some hot water, and she did end up taking this one home and winning, and I think it was good for her. I think it was needed. And so, yeah, Cassie's the winner of immunity this week. And did you mention a couple weeks ago? Did you mention something about her as to almost being kind of a sleeper player? And yeah, and I thought the same thing early on because in the first few weeks I had seen her pop up and I'm like, who is that girl? I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing her in the premiere at all, and she really has kind of snuck up on us. Did really have her hooks sunk into Ryan. Um, and it's like I said earlier in the season too. It doesn't matter. Anything you do can put a target on your back and can make someone go after you, and that's what ended up happening to Ryan. But I also like as much as I was against Ryan for that. I'm also like that one thing was the only thing she had to really hone in on, and so I was kind of worried. But I mean, she won something, and I think it's really putting her on the radar. And it's not too late for her to make some moves, and she's putting herself in a good spot. So
She
we
did
get
say, I remember this from the first episode, is she wanted to be that snake in the grass. She wanted to be that person that I'll lay low, and then when the time is right, I'm gonna get you. That's the
mhm,
only thing I remember from that opening. They do that
yeah.
opening where they're bringing him to the beach and whatnot. That's the only thing I remember from her in the beginning episodes, and it stuck with me. It genuinely did. Where I was like, you know what, like she's playing kind of a background character game, and she's doing a great job of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely great job. I have a bold prediction for my final three tonight
Okay.
that I think is going to physically happen.
Okay.
Um,
You're throwing a monkey wrench in there for me because I haven't even
I
thought
I
about that yet.
genu I genuinely, like, we're at the end of this vote. We're at the top seven.
Top
Like
seven.
four people are gonna go home, and I kind of can see in my mind. Obviously, there are three hidden immunity idols. There's advantages. I could be way off, but genuinely, I'm starting to picture that
I'm
final three.
worried. I'm worried, and I know I can see her name on your wall, saying her name again. But I'm worried we're gonna get another one of those situations because we have so many advantages that
There's
have
only
yet to be
three.
played. Is
There's
there?
only
Is it down to three?
It is down to three, and all of them are hidden immunity idols, and they only can be played at the final five.
It's true.
So yes, technically, if it is at the
We're gonna
final
get that
five,
moment at the final five where everyone's gonna turn all their stuff in.
so at the final five, there could be three hidden immunity idols and one immunity necklace, leaving one person out. Sari might have somebody sitting right next to her.
She might.
She might
She
have somebody
might.
sitting next to her, and you know what? Tell you the truth, if you can hold on to a hidden immunity idol from the very beginning, it would be the only time this entire season that hidden immunity idols have been played.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. The
Well,
entire season.
my thing is, I'm not angry at and again, I have nothing against idols. I think the hidden immunity idols, I think they're a staple. I think they're needed and important. I think all these other advantages are where it gets too
So,
much. Personally, I don't
so
mind the extra vote in certain
yeah,
aspects, but
steal a vote, good stuff.
still, yeah,
I really like. I'm starting to come around now on the need to know. I'm
yeah,
very much coming around on that. Anyway, we'll get into the physical, into the coming back to camp, because I'm gonna let you go off on Jesse here because he plays a fantastic,
Okay,
fantastic. You get
this
to
is
play this game. This is how you do it, and it's
this
fantastic.
is I'm gonna say this. Okay, I was watching this and I thought they are, and I think my winner pick. It's not. I don't have any. I don't have any stock in that at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
but
yeah,
I think that they
because
are.
your winner pick from last week was Noel.
Yeah. No, that was my MVP.
Yes, sorry, MVP. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
writing down your MVP
I'm
for this
talking
week.
about my winner pick. I don't really have much, talking about
No,
at this point.
he's not in
Um,
my final three anymore. So
yeah,
let's put
yeah,
that in perspective.
yeah. He's not. I'm watching this and I'm thinking two things. I'm thinking either I want to name Jesse as my like. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to take credit for it. Like, that's not my winner pick. But it, kind of at this point, if I were to take another guess, like I think it's very obvious that they were trying to set up Jesse as the the winner's edit,
Yeah.
which makes me think he's not going to be the winner.
No. No.
I'm very, very fearful of it because I am incredibly impressed. I mean, he came out here, so he starts talking about we need to have a checklist whenever you want to do a blindside, and we're kind of skipping around a little bit, but I gotta find it here. He says you gotta have a checklist, and the first thing on your checklist is a cover story, which 100% right, and he starts talking to Noel and wants to kind of start covering those bases because him and Cody basically agreed. They say, jumping a little bit ahead, him and Cody start talking. And they're like, "Look, Noelle is a threat. She's a danger. We got to get her out. I mean, just look at what she did at the reward challenge. She is a physical threat." And they're not talking about it, but we know one of the things that they're probably considering is once you get down to it, not only is she going to be a physical threat. Look, I kicked all of y'all's butts. I did it as an amputee, and we all know her story. She has a wonderful story, amazing story, and she really is very inspirational. But that is not something that the other contestants want to have to fight with in the final three.
Been
It's
calling it
very
for
challenging.
weeks.
Yeah,
Been
no,
calling it for weeks.
no, and I agree. And honestly, I think my biggest thing that I was like, I don't know how they're gonna do it is it could be very challenging for them to take her out and do it the right way. And I think that the way Jesse and Cody were kind of going about it this week with them saying, "Hey, we need to target her. She's been a threat," and I think they instantly jumped on it. I think that this immunity challenge, or reward challenge, it was kind of interesting because we haven't got any reward challenges, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, unless you're just waiting till the next week saying, "Hey, she won immunity last week," this was the perfect opportunity for them to be like, "Look, she won the reward. She should not have, and she did. She whooped all of us. She can very easily come back again next week and win another immunity. We need to get her out now." So he starts talking about I need a checklist. Or he didn't say specifically how many, but he says I need a checklist if you want to blindside someone. So the first part is a cover story. So he starts going and talking to Noelle, and I forget who they were because were they talking about splitting it between Sammy and Carla at that point?
Yes, but the cover story was more. She walks up and she asks Jesse, "Hey, what were you talking to Cody about?"
I gotcha.
And he said, "Oh, I needed to hand back his hidden immunity idol. I need to give that back to him." So that was his cover story.
Gotcha. So they start talking. He says, "All right, that one almost right away we see gets checked off." I loved how they did it too. They're
Yeah.
like, check one, checklist, right? They check it off. So he gets that part accomplished. Then he says he needs to. He didn't say it right away, but Sammy comes up to him, and right away Sammy's like, "We got to get Noelle out," which I found interesting because just the day before he's saying, "I don't care what anyone says. I'm going for Cassidy," which, I mean, I get, Noelle was there and Cassidy is, she won immunity. So I get it, but I feel like it was a really quick jump. But he does. He says, "We got to get Noelle out. She's a clear target." and this is the best chance to do it. So Jesse basically says, okay, that's number 2 on my checklist is we got to have a fall guy. And Sammy came up to me, and that's where we're going with. And then Jesse starts talking to Carla, and I found it really interesting because he goes to Carla and he says they're wanting to split the votes 3-3 for Sammy and you, and starts making her think that she needs to panic, which ultimately she doesn't really have to. She can. She's got a couple different things that she can work out, but he goes to her and tries telling her, listen, we have to have, we got to start working on this. And then he talks about how number 3 was his backup plan. Now, I didn't quite catch what he was talking about with the backup plan. I must have missed something during that because he starts talking about Carla being the backup plan.
Well, so Carla was the backup plan in the sense that Owen and Jesse were going to be voting for Carla. Okay, that was the backup plan. But the backup plan that Jesse was physically talking about was he went to Gabler and he said, "Hey, I need you to vote for Noelle instead of for Carla, so that way Carla has 4 votes or something like that. Yeah, 4 votes for her, guaranteed." And then that way the other ones can vote for Carla, and then Noelle's gonna vote for Sammy.
Gotcha. Well, at this point, he says that's number 3. We got the checklist. We're good. We can do this blindside now. So he goes and talks to Gabler, and he tells Gabler, he says, "Listen, we gotta go after Noelle. She's the biggest target." And he says, I can't remember the way he worded it, but basically he wants Gabler to think that Gabler's going to be in a power position if they do go after Noelle. And it wasn't part of his checklist, but I thought it was very smart the way he did this because he's not just trying to convince him that Noelle's a target. He's trying to convince him that if we get Noelle out, you are in the position that you want to be. You're taking over that position because, he kind of mentions it here, and he mentions it. I think it was when he was talking to Cody, and I kind of missed the exact portion, but he says that as soon as she gets a number 1 that's taken out, she gets another one, and it's like a hydra. She's immediately regrowing that head as soon as that person's out, and he tries to explain this to Gabler, so that way Gabler realizes, hey, we get this person out, I'm on top. This was the not that Jesse did. I don't think Jesse did a bad job here, but also I think Gabler is really. I just think it shows how smart Gabler is because he picked up on it and he realized that. Listen, Jesse and Cody, no one's talking about them, and they even start talking to each other, and they're like, "Have you heard my name? No. Have you heard my name? Nope." And so they know, oh, we're great. And then on the flip side, we start seeing Gabler is talking to Carla, and they're kind of comparing notes about what's going on. And Gabler says, "Listen, they're the real power couple out here."
Yeah.
He said, they're the ones that are starting to organize all this. So it looks like we might start seeing some troubled waters coming up soon because, he was not very happy with the way it was going down. And that's not going to go away. And I do think that, like I was saying earlier, is good foreshadowing because we are getting a very winner's edit from Jesse. And I think that's going to be this is either a red herring or it's what's going to kind of derail the trajectory that Jesse's on. But I like the way he worded that. He said they're the real power couple out here because he's not wrong. I mean, I was pretty impressed with Cody for a while, and I still am. I still think Cody is doing a really great job, but Jesse really is pulling the strings behind everything and is starting to get everything in order. I've been talking for a while. Do you have any comments?
No, honestly, when we got the tribal council, it was pretty well straightforward. It was a really good, they did a really good job of not necessarily burying the lead. It was very much like, hey, these are all the plans. Jesse laid out a very good plan, and when we get to tribal council, there wasn't any big points that I had at tribal council. Did you have any in particular?
I didn't really. There wasn't a lot that went on that really caught my eye. I will say that before we went to tribal, we got our first glimpse at the first thunderstorm, and I was hoping that that would turn into something. But based on next week's preview, it doesn't look like it did. I
Yeah.
still miss the seasons where we had downpours
During
almost the whole
tribal.
season.
Yeah.
During tribal, but like where we had like the majority of the game where it was just pouring.
Yeah.
There was a couple seasons where we had that, and I thought it was really fun watching that. And so I was like, oh man, maybe we're gonna get a taste of that. I've made like a case for the shortened season. I kind of miss the longer season. I kind of miss some of the old schoolish play where they were having to be out there for a long time, and that was really
Yeah.
something that they had to be concerned about. But yeah, no, nothing of great importance. I did miss a little bit of the vote count as I was talking to you before we started, so I'll let you take it from here based on tribal and votes and everything.
Okay. Well, honestly, what Jesse laid out happened perfectly. Sammy and Owen voted for Carla. Noel voted for Sammy, and everyone else voted for Noel. And Noel was the the next member of the jury. She ended up going home. Kind of a very good episode for her in the sense that she gets her win, but unfortunately she's the next one that's out. Very Noel focused episode, which I was
Oh yeah,
perfectly okay with. She did her even in her exit interview. She said like I represented the amputee community very very well.
yeah,
Um, I don't necessarily
and
think. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, no, no. I was going to touch on, but go ahead, go ahead.
I don't necessarily think that it'll become an every year thing where we get an amputee as much as we get all the more diverse cast that we have been getting. I don't necessarily think we're gonna keep getting that, but it was really cool to see that she represented so well during this season.
I like to think, and I don't want to give myself too much trouble, but I like to think that when we're casting for these shows, we're really looking at the best possible person for this cast, and I feel like Noelle was the best person for that spot. And when she mentions, I feel like I represented the amputee community well. I could not agree more because
Agreed.
we have seen not amputees or anything, but we have seen people that have represented smaller groups, and not just based on nationality or orientation or that type of stuff, but smaller groups that have really played into that. And like I do understand that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong, but she did not let that be like that was not the main topic of every single episode. That was not the main
Yeah.
topic of every moment, every not necessarily competition win, but metaphorical win that she had this season. She was a player, and that's why for me, I was like, the further along we were getting, I was like, if she gets to the end and she wins, it's not undeserved based on game performance. I mean, we'd have to see once we get there, but she
Yeah.
at this point, she has made moves where at this point, compared to everyone else, I could legitimately justify giving her the win, not based on her story, but based on her performance alone. And that I like the way she handled herself this season. And when she said, I feel like I represented the community well, I could not agree more because
Yep.
she came in, it was addressed, it was noted, and there were points of the season where it was mentioned because it was, it was a relatable topic. It mattered to what was going on. Like tonight's episode, she was struggling in the challenge because of her being an amputee. Like
Yep.
that was it needed to be discussed because it was actually contributing to it. But if
Yep.
it wasn't a contributing factor, she didn't mention it and she didn't rely on that. And I like we said multiple times this season, it was gonna be hard for anyone to sit next to her at the end. They kind of had to do what they did this week, but we never really heard that much talk about it because I feel like once people got to know her, they weren't really thinking about the amputee. They almost, I feel like, had to be reminded that, oh yeah, that's a thing, and we might have to focus on that,
Yeah.
and that might be something we have to take in consideration. But I feel like it was something they were having to kind of pinch themselves and remind themselves of. Oh yeah, this is that, because she wasn't bringing it up that often, and
Yeah.
I just feel like for people that are going into these types of shows that have something similar to this, that's how you got to do it. If you don't want people to judge you based on that. You don't want people to, be worried that you can't make it to the end because of that. Do what she did. Go out, address it when it needs to be addressed, but also play the game and be a good player. And that's exactly what she is. And I have nothing but respect for her in this game as a player. And if we get another second chance, I mean, she'd be awesome to see come back. And I think that she could make it far again. So I was really impressed with her this season. I think she did a great job. And I haven't checked. Have you looked to see if they're doing the Ponderosa episodes? I know we talked about covering those. We're a little behind.
Haven't checked.
I haven't checked. I know I checked the one time we talked about it. But I don't know. We might just do kind of like a recap towards the end if they're up person. I'll have to keep an eye out. But I want to hear from her and what she thought about her journey. With the disadvantage that she had compared to everyone else. I was really impressed. And I think Noelle was a great cast member this season.
For
so.
Sure.
I kind of skimmed through the preview because someone was, trying to scuttle me along and get me on sooner. So I kind of checked it out. But did you have any major points from next week's episode that you wanted to go over? From the preview?
No, it more just kind of ties into what I was saying about my my final three prediction. Is genuinely we're coming down to the end of the season where we're going to be at the final 7. Okay, that means 4 people have to go, 3 get to stay. And so it's not going to happen. I think we have 3 episodes left before the end of the season.
I tried looking it up to see I couldn't find like an actual like set finale date. That normally does add up to me. I was trying to do the math on it. Yeah, because normally finale is 5. So, and I was doing it last week because we had just had the double. So it would make sense that we still have.
Could be 2.
Could be 2 if we have another double. No, we're at 7. Yeah.
We're at 7.
Well,
6, 5,
7. Oh yeah. Yeah, we might be 2 more episodes. Yeah, I think that does that up. So, we're coming up on it quick. I don't have a final 3 prediction. Like I said, you kind of surprised me on that one.
Well, here's the thing, and I feel like this is really bad, but this is jury management, and this is something that when I got to play Survivor, this was one thing that I focused on was jury management. Mm-hmm. And literally, jury management
underrated aspect of this game that people are constantly forgetting about, because everyone's like big flashy moves, and then you get all those moves, and then you've done that by pissing everyone else on the jury off. And jury management is just as big of an aspect of this game as making big moves and being a strategic threat.
Yeah. And so the thing that I would want to do if I was in this game at this stage, there are 2 people who are not going to win. Just flat out. Can you guess them? Just out of curiosity.
The first person I'm thinking off the top of my head is Owen. And
interesting.
I really don't see. I do not see. I mean, things could change, but I don't see enough of a resume for him compared to everyone else. Okay. So my 2 people are Owen, and the other person I do, based on what you said earlier, I do think is on your list is also Cassidy. No, okay, all right. So
for me, okay. So this is my perspective of the game. Okay.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a goat that's taken to the end because he's a number. Mm-hmm. That's Gabler. Okay. Gabler has been doing good, but he's just a number. He's somebody that's going to be your GOAT, your third place person. He's going to be dragged to the end.
I feel like if he does not do a single more thing from this point forward, I could see that. But I don't necessarily agree with that as a whole, because I feel like most of the people that fit his archetype really don't do much. He's done enough for me that if he continues to do more and continues to play, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's... So I see where you're coming from with that, but I don't necessarily agree. But
the only reason I say that is, yes, he's had phenomenal episodes. Okay, he's a character. He's funny. I saw him more as a cringe character in the beginning. Now that I've actually gotten several weeks to understand him as a person, he's a good he's there's some goodness in there, but there's also a lot of good comedy. Okay,
Yep.
in
There's a
my
lot.
mind.
You say goodness. There's a lot of my goodness in there.
Exactly, exactly. So in my mind, and he's been saying it for the last week, I've positioned myself in a spot where these people want to come up to me, these people want to come up to me. He has no alliances. He hasn't played the game. He's gotten one advantage that he didn't need to use, never used it, and he's won one immunity, the weekly necklace. That's it. That's all he has done, and he's been on the right side of the boat.
Hey, he
Okay,
had like 1,000 different people that helped him win that necklace, though.
exactly. Okay? One for every minute. Okay,
Yep, one for every minute.
and every state. Anyway,
Every state,
every
and every
state, and that,
organization, and every college.
exactly. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. He's a comedy character. He's not winning this game. Then there's another person who has been soured on by every single person on the jury so far, and every single person still in the game has talked trash about him. That being
I'm gonna say Sammy.
Sammy.
Yeah,
He's not winning this game. I would
I don't
love
think so.
him to.
Yeah,
I would love him to. Uh, it would be really, really cool. But those are going to be my goats. Okay, those are the people that go to the end. They're not getting a vote, or they'll get one or two. People who just respect the gameplay and stuff like that. They're not winning. Obviously, this is my perception, but
I
that
don't.
would be
I
my
agree. I don't think they're winning. I do not think they're
yeah.
winning, but I do think that it's dangerous to classify them as goats because I do feel like
Gabler's
they have.
Gabler's a goat.
I don't. I got one foot in, one foot out because I do see where you're coming from, but I do feel like there's only the only people. I don't know. I do feel like those are two people that could be considered goats that actually compared to people we've seen before that have been taken as goats.
Yeah.
Out of all the casts we've had, like all the seasons, I feel like this cast, what we have right now, is the least goaty because I feel like there's several people. I don't know. I feel like there's several people that you could think of as goats.
But here's the next thing is this is where my final three is frustrating because I can see Cassie winning. I can see Carla winning. I can see Owen winning. I can see Cody winning. I can see Jesse winning. Okay? I can see the other five people bringing these two guys to the end. They win. All five of them. And so I personally think Cassie is going to be brought to that final three and she's going to win this game. That is my prediction. But if any other people goes with Sammy and Gabler, they win. That is my prediction. Is this late into the season? We got 2 episodes left, so we got to have the bold predictions now.
Yeah.
Cassie is going to win this game. But what is really cool that we need to address is me and you, episode 1, picked Owen and Carla.
Yeah.
And they are still here with 2 episodes left. Fantastic. Fantastic. They both have a chance to win. Imagine if Owen actually wins this. If Owen gets into that final 3, Owen wins.
Yeah.
If Owen gets in that final 3, he wins.
Depends on who's there. I mean, at this point, I feel like if he gets in there and he's there with Jesse and Cody, I don't think he wins.
Agreed. Agreed.
I think that's
the jury management side of things where I don't think anybody's going to touch Sammy. I don't think he's going to be in jeopardy for a while. I don't think anybody's touching Gabler. I don't think he's going to be in jeopardy at all. I could see a scenario where they put Jesse and Gabler against each other in the 4 challenge where they have to do the fire to see who earns their spot into the final 3. But I only can see that outcome where Jesse and Cody want to go to the end together and Jesse ends up winning that one. Because in your opinion, who is the best player in this game right now?
Right now, my opinion, the best player in this game is Jesse. 1,000%.
And that's your MVP for this week, right?
That is my MVP for this week.
Okay.
And like I was saying earlier, I'm not trying to rewrite history. Owen's my winner pick. I don't expect that to come to fruition. If I had to pick a second one, it's it's much easier said than done. At this point, anyone can talk, but I do feel like Jesse's the most likely to win
Yeah.
based on the edit they're giving. That being said, I know how they do things and I know how the edit works, and I don't think Jesse is going to be the winner. I do have my winner. I do know who I think is going to be the winner this season. I
Okay.
don't think it's going to be Jesse.
And that is?
I'm calling it right now.
I'm writing it down.
Unless something happens next week to change this. Now, at this point, my winner pick, I'm saying, is Carla. I do.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like she's flown
That's
under
not
the
much of a
radar
pivot.
more at this point. Huh?
I said that's not much of a pivot. Like we picked those two.
No.
So like
No, but I'm saying that at this point, I really want to say Jesse, but I feel like Carla is under the radar enough where she's done so much already that right now she's laying low. And I mean, there was mentions of her, but it really wasn't a whole lot that she got tonight. And I feel like they're really setting her up to kind of come back and take over. She's someone that I could see if she is put in that position to make fire. I think she's someone that could. There's not a ton of people that I see that could right now out of the 7, but I'm not saying she will. I've been surprised by the fire making. I actually love the fire making. I really love the fire making. I know a lot of people dislike it, and I always say, like I said, I need to get one. I'm a purist, whatever. But even as a purist, I do love the fire making. I think it's a great addition because I feel like it really gives that extra step of, okay, you won the final immunity, that's great, but we still got one more spot left, and you got to fight to the death for it. And it breaks every mechanic that I so wholeheartedly believe in. But even then, I still love it, and I really do think that she has a decent shot compared to some people. Like if you put Carla and Cassidy up for the fire making, Carla wins. I mean, there's some people that I do think she beats. I think she could even beat Gabler. I'm trying to spitball off the top of my head. I do think Carla is our winner. I really do. I can see her beating Owen too.
I like the fact that we both have the same one from Coco. Like we have the alliance right there.
Yeah.
But next week's episode's really going to be telling because
yes,
it's literally three yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues.
Yep.
And the only reason I see Cassie winning is because no matter what, Owen, Gabler, Sammy, they're going to work together. Sammy's already shown that he wants to work with Carla and Cassie. So I personally think that bearing idols being played, I think either Jesse or Cody could be out next. Okay? Obviously, they both have hidden immunity idols, so technically they could both play them and everything be fine.
Who did you just say we're sticking together?
So Owen, Gabler, and Sammy, because they're all from original Vessi.
Mm-hmm.
And then Coco with Cassie and Carla. I think they're going to stick together.
Yep. I really think that I really think that we're going to see Jesse or Cody go home next week.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
I really do. And what I think is most likely, and I agree 1,000%, next week is probably going to be the most telling episode of the season, honestly, even more so than the one after. Like, assuming we have 3 total more weeks left. I'm talking like we have 7, then 6, and then 5. If we have a 5 final 3, so that'd be 3 more total episodes. Assuming we have 3,
we're currently at 7.
Yeah. So we go from 7 to 6, and then from 6 to 5, and then we start the finale at 5.
Oh shoot, you're right.
Yeah. So we've had finales where they start at 6, so it could be. It really could be. But assuming that's the format we go with, I do think that we have a strong likelihood I do think that next week is going to be the most telling episode. I'm Hail Mary here, right? Completely out of left field. But what I see happening is Gabler and Carla coming together and saying, look, we got to get Cody and Jesse out. And I think they're going to bring Sammy in too, because I think he's going to be a little bit nervous about that too. I think those three are going to be the dominant three that starts breaking up that pair. I think if they're smart, they're going to get Jesse out first. I don't know, but they're going to get Jesse and then Cody. And then I really do see Carla going to the end. If I had to, if you're, what did you say your final three was? Because you said you had a final three in mind.
Right. No, it's Gabler, it's Sammy, and then it's Cassie. Cassie wins.
See, I think that it's Gabler, it's Sammy, and it's Carla, and I think Carla wins.
And the only reason I disagree with that, okay? Say it's a final four, okay?
Yep.
The final four are for Sammy, Gabler, Cassie, and Carla, okay?
I don't disagree. I think that very well could be our final four.
If you're Sammy and Gabler, who do you want to go to a final three with? Do you want to go with Carla?
That's true.
Or do you want to go with Cassie?
It's true, but I have more faith in Carla winning that final immunity than Cassie. Personally.
You're not wrong. I completely forgot about the concept of going to fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah.
But
yeah,
but there's a lot of different ways, because we've seen that now the hero move is to, hey, I won the final immunity, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to face this person in a fire challenge. And
that is. I think that we're going to, just like we saw that take place. Chris was the guy who did that. As much as we saw that happen, I do think we're going to see at some point a break of, listen, this is what happens every season. This doesn't have to mean that this is what's got to take place every season. I think we could see a break with that, and I don't know. We'll see when that break happens. But like I said before, I think Carla could beat a handful of people in this. I think that Cody could beat her. I think that Jesse could beat her. I think that Gabler could, but I do see Carla beating most of them in the fire making challenge.
Yeah.
But any possible thing could happen, and we've even seen them have to take the fire making challenge into the voting booth because the wind is so strong.
yeah.
The fire making challenge, it is based on skill, but it is a little bit crapshooty because your environment could just have some random impact on it. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, my final three prediction: Gabler, Sammy, and Carla, and I think Carla takes the win home personally.
Okay. We got our finals. We're all set for the next couple episodes. I'm excited for them.
Yep. And next week, Carla's gonna go home.
So
I don't think so, because she's got immunity.
Your predictions up to this point has been nothing but Carla.
Yeah.
Okay? The second you changed your vote from Carla to somebody else, that person's gone home.
Yeah, I know.
So this week your MVP was Jesse. If Jesse goes home next week, it's your fault. It is flat out. It is your fault and your fault alone.
Even though it already happened months ago, it's still my fault.
Still your fault.
I can't see the future. I can just see the past.
Exactly.
All right. I think that'll do it for tonight. Dylan's got to get out of here. He's got a very important date with the in-laws, and he's got to get going. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this stream, make sure to hit that like. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. And if you are new, we do go live usually Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays, but we do try and go live right after the episode airs every week. And we're here for Survivor, Big Brother. We're here for a lot of stuff. So come on, hang out. We're going to have a great time. Everyone, I hope you guys have a great week following this week, and eat lots of food. We'll just leave it there. So everyone have a good night, and we'll see you next week. And goodbye.